Well, I want to thank everybody for joining today's Code Ninjas conference call for the UK, focused on the UK. My name is Marty Flanagan. I am the Vice President of Franchising with Code Ninjas. And I host these calls every week and have been for the last 3 years in the US and Canada. And just started these calls for the UK about a month and a half ago. And these calls are dedicated to be able to answer any questions you might have, but also give you some insight on Code Ninjas coming to the UK and catching up a little bit on what's kind of going on with Code Ninjas, what we're doing, and really what the buzz is about. Typically, these calls for the UK have anywhere from 10 to 30 attendees. If you've listened to these calls in the past, you know that the first 15, 20 minutes are really just giving you an overview of Code Ninjas, giving you a little bit better insight on who we are, a little bit about our curriculum and our business model. And then I open it up to questions that you may have for myself, and I can help answer in regards to Code Ninjas. And again, if you're just joining us, my name is Marty Flanagan, Vice President of Franchising here with Code Ninjas. I started Code Ninjas with David Graham and Bert Sensipon in 2016. Actually, this week of October of 2016, we officially started Code Ninjas and building our infrastructure, who we are, how we're growing, what we're going to do, how we're going to build ourselves as a franchise, and then officially launched in March of 2017 in the U.S. Since that launch in March of 2017, we have grown to 520 locations sold, just about 200 locations open now, and 270 franchisees across the U.S., Canada, and the U.K. The U.K. we launched about 6 months ago. We currently have 10 sold locations in the U.K., which is really exciting. And that kind of growth, it took us from our launch date in October to our first franchisee opening, securing a market in the U.S., it was about 6 months. And then to have in the UK, weeks after arriving, having our first franchisee, and now 6 months in having 10 locations, 9 franchisees, and we have about another 5 that are actually in the paperwork process and the finishing process. So pretty exciting to be and pretty validating to be accepted in this kind of response so quickly in the UK. When it comes to the why, a lot of people ask, like, what about Code Ninjas? Why is it different? What's all the buzz about? There's obviously a lot of things that make Code Ninjas different than a lot of other companies. We built Code Ninjas to be a franchise from day one. Now, does that mean we're coming into the UK and doing business like we are in the US? No. We've changed our model a little bit. We've adapted some things to the UK market. We have a lot of experience in franchising in the UK. We have a lot of commercial real estate experience in the UK. We fully understand the market differences between the US, Canada, and the UK, and different markets inside the UK. So we bring that experience to the table. We've adapted and changed our market, pivoted it just a bit to allow franchisees in the UK to, one, which is great, open up, become their own boss, be an entrepreneur, and also open up for a less cost than you do in the US. It's about double the cost to open in the US and Canada than it is in the UK. So if you've looked on the website and you've looked through some information, you understand it's double the cost in the US and Canada compared to the UK. And we can talk about that if you have questions. But we started Code Ninjas because David Graham, he's the CEO, founder of Code Ninjas. He owned a school that taught adults how to code. It was a vocational school. With that vocational school, he had that for about 4.5 years in 18 different cities. And as we had that school, we kept getting a question every single week after week, same question, which is, how do we get the younger generation involved? And being David is a coder, programmer, entrepreneur, he continued to look at the marketplace and he continued to see the issues that were on the market, the problems that parents were facing, the cost structure behind what it takes, the seasonality of camps and workshops, which was being done in the market, and started to problem solve, like a great coder and a great programmer, started to problem solve. And that's where the Code Ninjas curriculum was born, actually sitting in his son's karate studio, looking up and seeing the belts, and then it hit him, you can teach kids how to code that way. And being that he's a coder, programmer, had a vocational school, been in that world, entrepreneur, it all made sense to take Code Ninjas to a franchise. One thing that's really critical to understand about why we did this is because this is an experiential learning system. This is It's all about the experience for kids. That's why we're a game-based curriculum, because kids need to have fun. If they're not having fun, if they're not being engaged, if they don't feel like they can accomplish what's set in front of them, they will lose motivation. You'll have an extremely high turnover of students. You won't be able to keep it, and your culture will go backwards. So we obviously needed to focus on having a roadmap for the curriculum in place and having multiple opportunities. Not every piece of learning fits for everyone. So having multiple opportunities for families to get engaged with Code Ninjas. We started off with our core curriculum, which we called our BELT program, also known as our drop-in program, drop-in learning. We've changed that name to now called Code Ninjas Create. And that program is pretty simple in terms of how it's seen, but it's really complex in terms of how we actually put it all together. And the Code Ninjas Create program, which is not done, there's nothing even like it on the market anywhere today in any country. It's made up of 9 different belts. Inside each belt is a learned set of skills and concepts. At the end of each belt, students need to show their proficiency in those skills and concepts by building a game. That game is built on what's called a learning management system. One doesn't really exist for coding, so we had to build our own. We called it our game development platform. So as the students work their way through a belt, they learn skills and concepts, and then they build a game showing the proficiencies in those skills and concepts on our game development platform. Every belt works with the prior belt, and the next one forward. So it's all cumulative learning. It's not segmented learning. Everything works together. This curriculum is 90% proprietary and exclusive to Code Ninjas. It has an exclusive robotics program, proprietary textbooks. It lives on our platform in the cloud, which students can only access from inside of Code Ninjas. This curriculum takes 3 to 4 years for students to accomplish. This is a flexible learning system, so there's no classes, there's no lectures, there's not a set time to come in. They're going to be coming in at their parents' convenience. Big problem on the market today when you look at opportunities for students, for the younger generation, anyone, to get engaged in and learn in this type of environment is typically a classroom setting. We've eliminated that. There is no set times, there's no classes, there's no lectures. They're going to be students will be showing up at their convenience, staying for 1 hour to 2 hours per week, no designated times, and it's going to take about 3 to 4 years to accomplish that. This is a self-paced program, not self-taught. So they're going to move through certain parts of this faster than they're going to move through other parts. When they face a problem, they're going to raise their hand. A code sensei is going to come over, and the code sensei is going to sit with them and work with them through that problem one-on-one. So this is not where they're learning from just some video module. It's very individualized learning and very personalized with a code sensei who's going to work with them. Code senseis, I can imagine just questions going on, what's a code sensei? Code senseis are 16 to 22 years old. Code senseis have an ICT background, robotics background. This is going to be the easiest part of running your Code Ninjas, is finding 16 to 22-year-olds that want to be in this space. These are kids and young adults that this is what they want to do with their future. They can put this on their university application, their resumes when they get older, that they taught kids how to code for X number of years. This is the environment that they want to be a part of. With almost 200 locations open, I have heard 0 complaints about finding good quality code senseis. Pretty easy program. They are part-time. They are not full-time. They are not coders and programmers as well. So this curriculum, like I explained also, is a monthly tuition. So parents pay a flat monthly tuition rate. And the Code Ninjas Create, parents are going to have a few different options, actually. They can choose 1 hour a week, 2 hours a week, or up to 3 hours per week. And it's an automatic monthly subscription, so automatic monthly transaction for the tuition. This curriculum itself is really what has been the differentiator on the market when you look at a curriculum-focused program. Being that the roadmap is there, Code Sensei's number one responsibility is to deliver an exceptional experience. We're setting them up for success to do that by having the curriculum in line organized and structured the way we have it so that they can help students where they're at and deliver that exceptional experience, that fun factor. If you even know much about or read much about Code Ninjas, we like to say kids have fun, parents see results. When our kids log in and they go to their dashboard, we also have a parent portal. Parents can actually play the games that their son or their daughter is building. They're actually able to be engaged with what's happening inside of Code Ninjas. We've also adjusted ourselves to not just be a certain age range. The Code Ninjas Create program is for 7 to 14 years old. We now have Code Ninjas Junior. Code Ninjas Junior that program is for 4 to 8 years old. It's a non-reading based program. And that feeds them directly into the Code Ninjas Create program. We also have Code Ninjas Pro. The Code Ninjas Pro curriculum will be released here in about 60 days. And that is a mobile-based program with in-house labs. So they'll be coming to Code Ninjas and doing appointed labs. But the majority of the curriculum is mobile-based. And that is going to be for anybody over the age of 12 years old. So you could be a 40-year-old, you could be a 50-year-old. It goes all the way up after 12. These are just 3 options that families have to get involved with Code Ninjas. We also have camps, workshops, parents' night out, and birthday parties. The parents' night out is from the entrepreneurs and those I've been connecting with for the last few months in the UK and London, and in the UK in general. Parents' night out is probably going to be pretty popular. That's like glorified babysitting, but it's really exclusive. 10 kids, 12 kids come in. Everything is going to be STEM-focused, fun. It's not curriculum. It's a fun factor. It's games. The door is locked. It's a secure environment. And, we do them here in the U.S. and Canada. They last about 4 hours for about $40. And it's a safe environment, a fun environment. And they're usually with their friends. It's been pretty popular here. It's not going to be a huge revenue source, but it's definitely something you can use to show off the fun factor of your Code Ninjas and your culture. Camps are going to be a big source of revenue for you. Camps are going to be done whenever you don't have school. So whenever there's not school, that's when you're going to be doing your camps. Camps are a big source of revenue also because not just because of the camp factor, where they're going to be with you for 5 days. And through 5 days, either half day or full day, they're going to be with you. And that program itself also feeds your Code Ninjas Create program. We also have non-reading based camps to go with our Code Ninjas Junior program. So now you can have non-reading based for special needs or for kids who just not the best readers. We have camps focused for them as well. So not only do we have that ongoing curriculum that they can be a part of, we also have carve-out camps which are designed to expand their bandwidth currently and also introduce them into this space. So we can introduce them into new topics and subjects as well. So that gives you an idea. There's 7 different opportunities there for families to get involved with Code Ninjas, going from 4-year-old and up. We also do Dads and Drones, Mother-Daughter Nights. We also have Parent Tech Education Nights. So it's not just about coding and development or programming. We're not even trying to silo them into a career. That Code Ninjas Create works through 3 different technologies, 3 different languages, the syntax of 3 different languages. We're setting them up to be successful and to go off on their own if they want to, or they can continue on with their education. So it's not just about siloing them into a career or having it so they only can do Code Ninja stuff. We don't do that. Even though the curriculum is 90% proprietary and exclusive, when they're done with it, they're actually able to go out on an open platform and actually be able to continue on sharpening their skills. And it has nothing to do with Code Ninjas because we've trained them up to do so. So do you have to be a coder or a programmer to own a Code Ninjas? No, not at all. We have a lot of our current owners in the U.S. Half of them have some sort of IT background. The other half do not. We have a lot of current teachers that own Code Ninjas throughout the U.S. and Canada. It gives you kind of an idea of who our owner groups are. So we as a franchise have also built internal support structures so you're able to connect with your local franchisees and connect with franchisees worldwide. We have conferences. We have new franchising training. We have the pathways in place for you inside the UK if you choose to move forward. We have financial partners that you can work with. We have fit-out companies, design companies. We have the insurance companies. We have the PR company. We have sourced everything locally which is a huge cost advantage for those who want to move forward in the UK. And that's probably why we have had such a fast start in the UK, and is because the cost factor is so different than the US. So this gives you a little bit of an idea up front of Code Ninjas. When you look in the market today, you're going to see a lot of camp-based curriculums, and you're going to see a lot of curriculums that are all going to be in classroom-based. It's their schedule, their time, their cost, and a lot of the situations that you're going to see out there, they're having to do it that way because of the way the programs are today. We've invested, obviously, thousands of hours, millions of dollars, and when you look at the market today, Code Ninjas is one of the younger companies doing this. We're not the first to market. A lot of people will say, well, yeah, you were first to market. No, we're not first to market. There's companies that have been out there for 7, 8 years franchising and teaching kids how to code, but they were doing it in a way that's completely able to be copied, and somebody can open up across the street, and then it becomes a price war. Where when you look at what we're doing, 90% exclusive and proprietary, somebody can't open up across the street and do what Code Ninjas is doing. So it gives you some safety there and understanding. We have over 15 curriculum developers on staff that focus on developing the Code Ninjas curriculum and continuing to drive it forward. We have 14 different camps. We continue to bring different programs. When Code Ninjas started, when we first came about, we had just the drop-in program, and we had 4 camps. Fast forward 2.5 years, now you can see we have the Code Ninjas Junior program, the Create program, the Pro curriculum, which gets released here in a couple of months, 14 different camps and daily workshops, along with birthday parties and parents' night out. So you have quite a bit of opportunity now compared to even our franchisees in the beginning, which is pretty exciting. Well, this is that first 15 minutes. If you've ever heard these calls in the past, which is a couple of hundred of them on our franchising YouTube channel, this is kind of how this first part goes, and then I really just open it up to your questions. If you don't have any questions, and I did just such a fantastic job, where I'll be in town myself, David Graham and Bert Sensipon will be in town hosting another Discovery Day on November 11th. If you have questions about anything that I talked about today, by hitting star 6, that allows you to virtually raise your hand, and then I can unmute you, and you can ask any question you have for Code Ninjas. So again, by hitting star 6, that virtually raises your hand. I can unmute you, and then you can ask any questions that you have. Our Discovery Day on November 11th is by invitation only. We currently have 45 attendees coming to that Discovery Day. They have all done work. They have all looked in their market. They've done market research with us. We've built performas with them. They've signed NDAs. These are people that have done a lot of work with Code Ninjas already. And like I said, we have 45 attendees already coming to that Discovery Day on November 11th. Hi, you have a question?
Yeah. Can you please, I think in terms of investment, we just want to understand, you said it's very different from what you do in the U.S. Compared to what you do here. I just want to understand what kind of investment are you talking about?
Okay, yeah, for sure. So in the U.S., to open up, if you do apples to apples in the U.S., you're looking at about $250,000 to open up a Code Ninjas. And yes, obviously USD. When it comes to the UK, we're telling everybody from all the research we've done, for your total turnkey operation, which means your signage, your fit out, everything that you're going to need to start and open your doors for business, you're looking at about £100,000. So it's quite a bit different compared to the U.S.
Okay, so this you're talking about, this includes your franchisee fee, plus you're also taking into account the facilities and all of that, right?
Yeah, it's not your monthly operations. It's you turn your sign on for business, go. £100,000 is what we're telling them. Now, we know some franchisees are going to do it for less. Some franchisees might do it for more. But we're telling everybody to start with £100,000 in your mind when you start your planning. Now, like I said, some franchisees will do it for less. Some will do it for more. It's going to depend on your space size, It's going to depend on your landlord contribution. It's going to depend on the age of your space, because the older the space is, and if they haven't met regulations, you might have some updating to do. So we work on all this together. But we tell everybody, start with about 100,000 pounds, and then we kind of, we take it from there.
Okay. I've got more questions. Maybe I'll have to go through.
No, go ahead.
The Q&A. Okay.
No,
so
you have another question. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the next question that I have is, you said you have customized the program to the UK compared to what you do in the US, right? So I'm just trying to understand what kind of customization have you done. You've talked about number of different tracks and camps. Is it any different here? That's one. The second question is, how do we get up to speed, right? Do we have somebody local that we can actually go to where we get ourselves trained, or it's going to be completely based on an e-learning platform? What is the way by which we can get ourselves, up to speed? And what's the best way for us to be, if you're putting money on the table, we need to get started, and we should be comfortable enough to run these camps and everything around it, right?
Yeah, so when it comes to difference, obviously we don't just do camps. I mean, your main source of revenue is going to be your Code Ninjas Create program, which is that month-over-month ongoing program, right? Camps are done whenever there's not school, workshops, and everything else. Well, we have new franchisee training that all of our franchisees go to. So our our franchisees come to new franchisee training. We have full support. So we have an office in London, we have an office in the UK, and we have an office in the US. So you're supported locally in terms of operations, and compliance, which is going to be all the branding and design and everything, that's supported out of the US. But we have an office there in the UK locally. So when it comes to being trained, those resources are actually the easier part of all of this. Because you remember, you're working with 7 to 14 years old, 4 to 8 year olds. You're not teaching vocational. So the concepts that an 8-year-old is learning, a 9-year-old is learning, is much different than if you're off teaching, a 20-year-old.
Mm-hmm. No, I understand. I mean, what I'm trying to get to is, do you have local support where I can actually go in and probably get ourselves up to speed, maybe for a day or so, or it's all going to be e-learning? That's all I'm trying to understand.
Well, like I just mentioned, we have an office in the UK with team members in the UK.
Okay.
So when it comes to when you say getting up to speed, I guess I need to know more about what that means. If you're talking about doing the curriculum, you're going to be doing all that and learning all that before you open your doors for business.
Yes, correct. So if I open doors, for example, if I go and sign up about, say 10, 20 kids, right, of different age group. So we need to be clear on, of course, I understand that you have an e-learning platform where, I don't know this is for a specific set of groups, but I think for a set of groups, they can actually, learn at their pace. And if they're going to, hit with any issues or they want to understand more, they then come into the class, and then they understand more. So that is one stream. And I'm assuming this is not going to be applicable for all streams, right? There are, junior kids, I don't think they would be going online and doing stuff. They would rather want to come into the class, and they would probably go through a game mode of learning things, right? So it's going to be different for
Yeah, now did you hear the first part of the call where I explained the Code Ninjas Create program?
Yeah, I did, but probably maybe I missed it.
Yeah, I think you missed quite a bit in there. So I think what we should do is let's schedule a one-on-one call, and I can walk you through it, because what you just said doesn't even apply to how we structure our curriculum. So I think that we should schedule a one-on-one, and I can walk you through it, and you'll have total clarity. And remember, the number one group of owners we have are IT professionals. They're coders, they're programmers, they're IT professionals. So when I explain it to you, you'll get it. You'll be like, oh, okay, I get it. So let's plan. You should just reach out to me, Marty, Marty @codeninjas.com. We can have a one-on-one, and we can dedicate some time to walking you through it.
Yeah, so I think that's a good idea, right? I mean, I probably don't want to hold up. I don't want to hold up everybody else on the call, but I've got a number of different questions. We seriously are interested in something like this, but I've got a number of questions that bubbles in my mind. So I just need to probably
that's what it is for. Yep, and I work with individuals like yourself and have been for 15 years. So I'm sure I can answer all of your questions and give you total clarity.
Great. So how do I go about doing this? Do I need to write you an email and ask you for a session, or how do I do that?
Yeah, I can't take random calls. What we'll do is you'll email me and we'll set up a time that works great for both of us to dedicate an hour to a conversation. Okay,
cool. That's fine. I think that probably was going to make sense. Otherwise, I'm going to hold up other people.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate your questions. Shoot me an email, Marty, Marty, @codeninjas.com. Send me an email.
Yeah.
Hi, you have a question?
Yes, hello. Can you give me kind of a breakdown of how the income statement looks for a successful operation? So, revenue, 300. What category is?
Yeah. So what we actually do with that? Yeah. So what the UK actually allows me to share a little bit more live revenue and up-to-date data compared to the US and Canada. So what we do is as you're in this process with us, this is before you're a franchisee. When you're in this process with us, I have a very nice Excel pro forma. I look at the market that you're interested in, and then I use comparable data to the market that you're interested in, and we can actually build out an entire revenue and cost model, and you can actually see what your ROI is, cost per student, your labor costs in general. We actually do all that with you so that you can actually see. And then I do a screen share so you actually can see live data, and that becomes really helpful for you to be able to have total clarity. Now, we do that after you've signed an NDA, because I'm not going to reveal all these numbers without signing an NDA and all these programs, right? So you sign an NDA, I send you a ton of information, and then we plan times to look at the market you're interested in. The laws in the UK franchising laws is I have to show you comparable data to your market. So I look at your market, we look at what that kind of what the demographics are, the purchasing power is what it's called, our gross disposable household income, the number of students in our age range, and then with almost 200 locations open, we can take a look at other locations that are similar in terms of demographics and look at their revenue to give you a sharper view of what's happening. And we can look at camps, we can look at paid in fulls, we can look at recurring monthly, we can look at the junior program. You can see that breakout, and it's really helpful. And now, mind you, in the UK, it's the only place we can do that. I can't do that in the US, and I can't do that in Canada. It's very fortunate that we can do that in the UK. It's very helpful.
Can you just clarify, how many locations do you currently have in the UK?
10. 10 sold locations.
10.
Our first location will open at probably end of November, beginning of December. And then we have 10 currently sold. And then with all of them, they usually are open within 5 to 6 months after they sign their paperwork. And I'm currently right now, we have another 4 that are in the final stages of the paperwork. So the paperwork's just being reviewed, and then they'll be posted. So I'm assuming by the end of November, we'll probably be around 20, 25 locations sold. And they all have a timeline to open. They can't wait years and years and years to open. They all want to open rather quickly. So.
And what about licensing? Can you give some information on licensing in terms of the premises?
You mean if you're going to lease a space?
Yeah, what kind of license does it need to have?
Well, now license, are you talking about zoning, like A2? Because license, I'm trying to understand what you're saying.
So each commercial space has to have a license from the local authority. What kind of license would it have to have?
We're A2. We work with A2. Yep, we worked with Indigo Planner, which is one of the largest and most respected planning companies in the UK. And we had a barrister write up a professional opinion on an independent barrister, not our own, an independent barrister write up an opinion. And we're their opinion to councils that we're an A2 space.
Okay, thank you.
And we also work with a pretty large franchising attorney firm located in London called Bird and Bird. So everything we do is very localized. We didn't farm anything out. Local attorneys, local planners, local everything.
Okay.
Is there any other questions? Are you good?
For now, yes. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, since we don't really have any other questions, we have about 15, 20 people on the line. If you have questions, feel free to email me anytime, Marty, M-A-R-T-Y, @codeninjas.com, and I'll continue to do these calls. We might join these calls with the U.S. We have anywhere from 30 to 40 individuals on the U.S. calls each Friday and 10 to 15 on the UK calls. So we might be joining these two calls together just to be able to help give everybody more questions and more time. So if you have any other questions that we weren't able to get a chance to answer, feel free to email me, Marty, M-A-R-T-Y, @codeninjas.com. November 11th, we'll be in town for about a week and hosting that Discovery Day. The more the merrier. We're more than welcome to burn the midnight oil, do one-on-one conversations, and make appointments for those one-on-one conversations. We will have franchisees at that Discovery Day as well. So you'll be able to actually talk to franchisees who made the decision to move forward. Like I said, that's hosted by myself, David Graham, Bert Tensipon. We're the ones who started Code Ninjas. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Otherwise, thank you for your time today.